All right, what's up? We are we are working on some small and annoying issues, as in those have piled up in the in my favorite project, post Wi-Fi architecture and cleanup, which is basically a bunch of small things that were left over, and I've been working on Ethernet stuff all day. I'm kind of burned out from that, so we are going to pick a few of these. We'll spend some time. They should be easy. I thought about at least two of them. Would be these. Which one did I add? These here. There are like multiple registries right now in the enzyme code, and I want to streamline that a little. That's just renaming it, hopefully, and maybe come up with a smarter name. And then there's another thing right now. If Postgres is not running, which is the only service kind of dependency that Enzyme has, it's just not going to boot up and it's going to abort. So you're going to have systemd keep on trying to restart it. I think it is, and it will give up eventually. I think it is better if the program itself keeps on looping and keeps on retrying. I think that's a much better way of doing it. So what I did here is I have stopped Postgres. Yeah, so that one is currently inactive and dead. So if we run the enzyme node, it exits immediately and says that there's no connection to the Postgres server. So what we can do, if we look at where that is happening, we have our main bootstrap kind of code here that just starts everything up, and we do the first thing here with the database is initialize and migrate. What happens there is we are trying to connect, create a handle to the database, create a connection, and then we're running all of the potentially pending migrations. And so what we can do is, if we look in here, we'll see that that's slightly failing right there. Exactly. So I'm trying to open this connection and it fails. And we just exit in that. Are we catching? There you go. So in this case, we would be catching a Liquibase exception. We're not rowing, for as far as I can see. Yeah, this looks like, where's connection exception? Extends the JDBI exception, which is a runtime exception. Yeah, so we're simply not catching it. So what we're going to do is we will catch the connection exception, and then we're going to retry with like a reasonable limit. Maybe, I don't know, like 5 seconds or so is probably good. Here we go. So what we can do is we're gonna split this up just like that, and we're going to catch the connection exception. Just like this. And we will actually loop here. Try to establish connection. We try not connected if connection fails. Love it. Okay, so which means if we make it here with a break, and if not, what we will do is we are going to warn And so we couldn't connect to Postgres. We'll log the exception with that so we can tell the user why we couldn't connect. And we are going to thread sleep 5 seconds. And if that one is interrupted, just throw this back up, that's fine. Yeah. All right, let's see what happens if we do this. So this should now endlessly loop until I start Postgres. And there we go. Beautiful. How was that? Actually, Piazza, and this was issue 970. Yeah, so I am also interested. What happens if we stop Postgres in the middle and then reconnect? It should handle this pretty well. It's just going to yell at us that nothing works. And so if I start it back up, it should just keep on going. Or will it? We're about to find out. Okay, no more arrows. I like that. Should we see if the system still works as we think it is? A few seconds ago. And I don't see any errors. This one here, that's an old tab reporting in. That's fine. We can ignore that. Okay. So that works like that. All right, so we can close this one. Push it. Close it. Okay, now what's next? Okay, rename base configuration to registry. That is an old issue. That issue is older than a year. I've moved this one around. Okay, let's see. That is... This here is the core. This is the core of our enzyme node where everything kind of hangs together. And we have here, we have registry. No, which one's which one? This is the Go one. We want to keep the registry in implementation. And then what is my problem? Base configuration, what is that? Do we have that? I thought that's long gone. I think this can go. That's not it. Are we even using that anymore? Like anywhere? Or can we just go... Yeah, that's only now migration. So we're gonna delete that table and then that's it. There's really nothing else in here anymore. Sure. Remove base configuration. Written by yours truly. And we're gonna drop the table base configuration. And that's kind of it. And before we run that, let's see if there's... I thought there was something odd here going on in here somewhere. Yeah, base configuration. I don't think we're using that absolutely anywhere. Uh-oh. Mm-hmm. What? Are we doing anything with that? No. Base configuration data direct. What the? Yeah, that's another one. So that here. Yeah. So that is a different base configuration. That is the base configuration that takes care of. That is basically a shared configuration that the node has. That has stuff like where the data directory is. So that, you know, that's the confusing thing here. This is just... Yeah, that's fine. Okay, and I think if I search for registry, we're gonna find all of those. And then I thought there's like this... Yeah, what is that? What is... Exactly. Probably move this to the new database backed registry. That is a fantastic idea. What is this? Jesus, where are we using that? And we're using this here. And look at that. Jesus. I mean, that's... Yeah. I guess that's fine. I mean, I guess that's fine. This is basically a... This is an easy way to... This is an easy way to kind of just put things into memory real quick if we need them anywhere else. Which is... Oh, you know what? Nah. That's actually not going to work because I think there's another issue somewhere in here about version checks not working in a larger cluster issue. Because, so we're using this memory registry right now. only to store if only to store a boolean to see if there is a newer version available or not. And the problem with that is that this depends on when the node pulled that information the last time, and this is not shared across the cluster, which is probably fine. It's running every... When are we running this? This is periodical, it's periodical. We're probably going to run this like every version check, running once an hour. So we could, depending which node you ask, those might just not always be in sync, which, yeah, it's not great. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to get rid of that weird memory registry, and we're going to put that into the real registry in the database, and then we can pull from that to decide if there's a new version or not. And then it doesn't matter which node you ask, and that's probably not bad. Okay, then where's that weird memory registry? Where did we put that? Memory registry is in core somewhere. Looks like right here. That's terrible. Let's get rid of that. Bonk. Okay. So now, I'm going to yell at me because we don't have that anymore, which is fine. Okay, we're going to fix it here and here. And then our interface for the enzyme node can no longer ask for that. Which means that we're going to remove it from here. We're going to remove it from here. And we're going to remove it from here. We're cleaning up. And then I think for tests we have a mock enzyme. Same thing. This just doesn't exist no more. Get rid of that. Okay. So now the question is going to be, I'm just going to compile, get rid of that, and we're going to remove that as well. Now this should compile again, and the version check should just always return. The version check should always return false. Did this just compile? This just compiled. Okay, so then we're going to do two things. We're going to move. We're going to move the check to write into the database registry, and that is going to be. Are we running this initially? We're running that with no initial delay. Okay. So we should have some sort of like core registry key somewhere. I am very unhappy with the registry key API right now. I don't know what I was thinking when I built those. Those were not great, but it's okay. So we're just going to keep on going with that. So. Yeah, that's fine. We can use this class. We're gonna call it version check status, and we're gonna call it version check status. This. Do we have a configuration? We have a Boolean constraint. I don't think we do. There we go. I built that. So that means we can only write booleans into the version check status The default value is an optional off false, and it does not require, oh, this, and it does not require restart. Our database backed registry, which looks like this, does not have types. It's just all strings for now because we rarely pull out of that, and that keeps it simple. You see, we also have an encrypted one. This uses a PGP key to encrypt confidential values like SMTP password, for example, API keys, stuff like that. So we're basically going to add a key here, and that key is going to be called the version check status. So that means we have to write into that. Now I have to remember how to use this damn API that I don't like very much. It's actually pretty terrible. That needs to be redone eventually, but it's only the API, and the database model works fine. So we're just going to keep on using the dumb API right now, and that's fine. So in our version check thread, where we're checking the Enzyme version check API if there is a new version or not, which if we reach here, we have a new version available. All right. How did this work? So we have Enzyme. We have the registry. And I think that we can set the value. We have to set it back too. That's going to be important. Right here. Start with that. So the API for that, this comes out of our plugins, so it doesn't have sources. Interesting. Okay, it's just key and value. So we're going to set the node registry keys version check status a key to true. And if not, we're going to set this to false. Going to look just like that. So that API is not completely dumb. I'm not going to lie. The pulling it out is annoying. But that's the next step. So if we restart this, I think that what we should see is we should see a new key here within no time. That should be called version check status. And because there is a new version right now, it's going to be set to false. Let's see. Yep. Have we done it? There we go. Core.version check status is set to false. Means there is no new version, which is correct. So now we can pull this out. Do you see this? I forgot that I built these things. You can subscribe to these keys. So something could subscribe and say, do something when this value changes, which in this case we don't have to. It's not very interesting. But there's kind of infrastructure here that's going on. And it's interesting that when it's been a while and you stumble upon these things that you've built like a year ago, and you're like, oh, this might not be the most beautiful code, but this is pretty complete. Anyways, this thing is yelling at me because I used this the wrong way. Let's do it that way, much better. Okay, so now we have to pull it out, which might also honestly not. I think this is kind of how I wanted to use this API eventually, but I just made it weird. In our system resource, which is where we now tell the web interface, or where the web interface can pull the status of this, if a new version is available or not, which is then, by the way, popping up a version right here, where it says, no, you have the stable version, which is correct. This is calling this. It's calling API system version. This is where that is coming from. And so what we're now going to do is, let's see. We had a registry, which we have. And we would say get value correct. Get this value. And it's going to be node register keys. Check status dot a key. Or else. Balls, why is this yelling at me? Result is, yeah, it is. No, this is where the missing type system of this registry is biting me, but I don't care. Honestly, for this, I just like really don't care. So we can do this. Looking great. And you know what? Actually, we can also simply not have it have a T. Just not have a default value in here because we might actually want to decide that based on the context. And so we can call this bool new version available. And in Java, it's called bool, not a bool. Here we go. And it means, you know that, let's restart this and see if that call still works. It should, and we can actually trick it in a second. We can set it to true manually and just simulate what would happen if that was a new version. Fantastic. So if we go into our registry, we just simply set this to true. Ha! There we go. Tells me you're running an outdated version. Upgrade if possible. All right. And then this should, if I restart, because I don't want to wait the whole hour for it to run again, this should now reset itself to false. False. And there we go. Love it when things work. So clean up different registries, which is which is 789. Registries, change, version check. Remove no longer required memory registry. Move check status to database back registry. Done. Close this, yeah. All right, that was not too bad. What else do we have in here? So that one's done. Let's see what else we got. Let's pick like one or two more. You just knock these out. Okay, we could do that. Yeah, why not? That's a user request. Display the count of all alerts. What does this look like right now? Yeah. You know what? How about we start with allow to mass select all alerts. Start with this and allow to select all alerts on the current page. So what you cannot do right now is there's like no checkbox up here to select all of these, which is of course annoying. For that, we need to be able to create some alarms. Let's see if we have network monitoring set up. Just set this one up. Enable it. This should trigger a ton of alerts almost right away. Here we go. Okay, so what we want is we want another checkbox up here that simply marks all of them. So this is JavaScript. Ooh! Sure, why not? So we should have an alerts page in here. It's right here. That one's loading the alerts table. Interesting. Last updated. Are we using this? Last updated? Look at that another time. Okay. So we would probably want to have this like up here, right? Here. We want another checkbox here, which we can do. Here we go. We'll copy it from here. Now. So. What would this look like? So yeah, I know. Just gonna keep it like this so it renders. I'm thinking that what happens if you click this one, right? I think that if I click it, it should select all of these on the current page and should then itself should also be selected so that when I unselect it again, it can unselect all of them. That's probably the right thing to do. So that means we need an additional state and we're going to call it rows selected. Set all rows selected, which is false initially. Can look at that. And so on change, we want to call handle all rows selected. There we go. And then we can do if all rows selected, unselect. My initial goal is just to get the checkbox working the way I want to. This one should now work. Yeah, and we shouldn't get any errors in here. Beautiful. That means that I can now react to it. And we would, in this case, so I have to now highlight Yeah, so we have selected rows. I think I would want to go over all of the alerts, right? And then add all of the IDs to selected rows. Selected rows includes the alert ID. Okay, so which means, okay, do I remember how to iterate an array in JavaScript? I forget this every single time, but I believe you can do alert for each. Can we do that? Does that work? I'm really not a front-end person. Aha. That works. So we would be able to go and say selected rows push. Yeah, that's not gonna work. What happens during on row select? Ugh. I should be able to call this though. Can I not call? That should work. It does not work because probably called alert UUID. No. Try that again. Oh, there it is. Totally has ID. So why does this not work? It's just not doing it. Okay. It's odd, just to say the least. Oh. Huh? Oh. Yeah. Okay. So then what's this problem? It's only doing that for the first one somehow. Huh? I mean, this works. What are we doing in here when we call unselect? There you go. Alert.id. Yeah, sure. Doesn't matter. I don't understand. Oh. Yeah, that's not gonna work. I think we have we're calling this so fast, the state is not updating quickly enough, and so it only applies on the last one. And actually, we don't even want to do it this way. What we want to do We want to do this directly. We want to do this. It's not going to work. We want to do this. We are going to say selected push alert dot ID, and then so now we have an array that has all the UIDs of all the alerts. Now we're going to go set selected rows. Selected. That's one state update. I think that's the right thing to do. There you go. That also means that we can super easy to unselect them. We can go set it to an empty array. That should work. Choop, choop. JavaScript. Okay, so that way we should also exactly see how things are coming together. It's all working. So this way I should be able to say, mark all those as resolved. Ta-dum. And they're going to come back because you're still active, actually. There you go. This should still work. That absolutely worked. Perfect. That was allowed to select all alerts on the current page. So now if you have pages and pages of those, I don't know if I want to muddy. I don't know if I want to muddy the UI with another button that says mark absolutely all alerts that there are. Mark them all as resolved or delete. That would also, because that would also need, that's another API call. It's kind of messy. You know what? This is one of those things. We'll see if someone wants it, and then we can still build it. Until then, we're simply going to take this out. Because I don't think that's worth muddying the UI, the API with. Allow to mass select alerts, which was issue 90906. Yep. And with that, we can set this like this. Done. Display count of alerts. Why not? Why not? Should we have a display that says all alerts and then a second one that says active alerts? Would that make sense? What's this currently look like in our API? There is likely an alerts resource right here. Okay, we're already returning total, so we should have somewhere on here, we should actually have a attribute that tells us how many we have in total. Will be on the alerts table. There we go. We have a total of 60, so maybe we can add an attribute here and call it total unresolved. I think it's a good idea. That's what we're going to do. This music is starting to get annoying. I'm going to change that. Yeah, give me the lo-fi. Here you go. Is it? Here we go. Okay. Okay, so our detection alert list response is going to have an additional attribute, and it's going to be total unresolved. So now the alerts resource is going to yell at me for missing the second count. So we're just going to copy this entire thing and have a unresolved alerts. Now detection alerts table. Ooh. Should have some sort of a status in here, right? Is resolved. Well, couldn't be any easier. Is resolved. False. I mean, as dumb as it looks, I am a huge fan of keeping this so simple. Because we're not going to change this. Famous last words. This is a false. This is a false. It lost false. There we go. Restart this server, and then we should see that new attribute. Oh, all right, there you go. 56 on unresolved. Are you crazy? That doesn't sound right. Well, that's not right. What? 56 are unresolved? No, they're not. A total of 60. And 50. What? What is this thing talking about? Oh, are some maybe... Oh, yeah. Because we make a differentiation between unresolved and timed out also. Is this in here? Mm-hmm. What are we how are we deciding if something is outdated? That would be based on the alert table row. Yeah, alert is active, which in turn is based on is not resolved, and last seen is after now -5. Okay. So we can flip this around. We can say we want to count. Yeah, that actually makes more sense. We want to count active alerts. Because that's actually really what I care about. So total active. So we're going to call it. And that means that we need somewhere in find all. Here we go. Call this total active, and we're going to call this count active alerts. Correct. Where are we? Count active alerts. Okay, so in that case, we're gonna say is resolved false and last seen. Are we doing this here already somewhere? See, that's what we want. It's larger than cutoff. Yep. That should do it. So now we're considering the timeout of an alert as well, as in if it hasn't come back, it's also not active. That should now tell us in the alerts table. Here we go. 21 active. This is probably 21. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 21. Okay, so now we can show this. Let's table because that one has the state in alerts. Let's do this ugly right now. Total alerts. So it was called. Ah, shit. Misting is sometimes not auto importing, but can live with it. Also, are we ever doing anything with this last updated? Only doing this in the auto refresh. Okay. Oh yeah. We're gonna make this real ugly. Active unresolved alerts. Alerts not active. Well, that didn't work. What are they actually called? They are actually called total active. Eh? What? Oh. Yeah. That can't work. There we go. 60 total alerts, 22 are active and or unresolved. We probably want to have this thing above that one though. There we go. I mean, it's kind of ugly. What we could do... I don't want to split this up into cards if I don't have to. I mean, this is very ugly. Do I want to split this into cards? I mean, that would mean... The problem is that this data comes out of this component, and I don't want to re-architect this entire component in Dataflow just because I want to show how many alerts there are. But what I have in mind is it would be great if we could make this like cards, you know, like a little like this. That would probably be the right thing to do. So it's a cheap call. We can just call it a second time. That would not be the end of the world. But then it's going to take up a lot of real estate on this page. We could also make those float, right? I mean, could we... Yeah, I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to... Yeah, that's probably what we're going to do. Okay, so we're going to pull this out of here. We're going to create a new component. Going to make it alerts and call it alert count summary, I guess. Is that right? No, well, no. Man, it's these small things that take the longest. What if... No, that's fine. Okay. Where's the alerts page? Here. Let's just mock this up real quick. So let's say... Fuck. Let's give me this whole thing. Active alerts, and we're gonna make this a 3 column. I don't know why I use medium here, that makes no sense. Okay, see, so now we got active alerts like this, and can take this bad boy and call it total alerts. And so we pulled this out of here. And then and then go into the page again. And we can basically, without all the refresh and everything else, what we're going to do is, we're going to load and we are going to pull we're going to go it's, well, we only want the count, so what we could do is we could do this and just not pull any actual alerts out of it. We do want it to refresh, so we can use the same general refresh logic that we're using here that I always forget in JavaScript. There we go. We'll leave it like this for now. I mean, that should work. We're going to optimize this in a bit. I just want to see if this works or not. So we should have on the alerts page now. There we go. It's not actually pulling the alerts. It's only pulling the counts, which is virtually free. Meaning that we should be able to go in here and say numeral alerts total, like that. Please do that for me. Okay. Oh yeah, well, we have to wait until it's actually loaded. Okay. I'm gonna make it pretty in just a second. Alerts. Let's see. Oh man. Total active. Total alerts 60. Active alerts 22. And I don't think that we have a component yet. It's like a number card. So we're going to create that. That's going to be maybe layout. Nope. Widgets. Number card. Look at that. Okay, we're going to have a title and a value. Make this a little more obvious. Like that, and number format. And then it is prep stop number format and not, it's just not, yeah, I think that's actually, that would be redundant. Okay. Title and value. It's so, what is this rendering? This is actually rendering the entire card. Okay. So that means we should be able to call number card title active alert value this. Oh. Yeah. Oh, it doesn't look terrible. Okay, very clean. Active alerts 21, total alerts 60. Now, what if we made this one span all the way across? Because we have, yeah, I think that's actually better. Because if you have a smaller resolution, there you go. Actually much easier to read. Doesn't split up the screen weird. Okay. Does the number format work? It should. Because I want the number format to be like this. That shouldn't change anything yet. But now what if we set this to like a ridiculous number? Yeah. Okay. There we go. Got the counts and we're able to select everything. Or nothing. Okay. Okay, it's 10 p.m. I think this is it for me tonight. And we've been online for more than an hour. I think it's good for tonight. Get up early tomorrow. Let's reply to alerts. Issue 1004. Boink. There we go. And that was for milestones alpha 14. Clues the issue. Okay. That's looking good. And I think I'm going to call it. You see there's a bunch of other stuff here to do that's coming out of this cleanup, small improvement milestone that however, in the end is pretty important. So I think over the next days, I'm just going to keep on doing this on stream. If you enjoy following along, please keep on doing so. Subscribe if you want, then I think you're going to get a tiny little push notification when I go online. And yeah, 2 more Wi-Fi things I think to do than all of this, and then we're going to start to really focus on Ethernet. I have already today worked on a bunch of Ethernet stuff. You will see here we have a giant table of Ethernet connections already that is coming out of the tab, which is here. So I am excited about the coming stuff for Ethernet and all the other good things. So stay tuned. I'm gonna call it a night. I hope you have a great start into the week. And yeah, leave a follow. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me here. Thank you so much. Have a good one.